Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Om. Eruditions to Lord Krishna, the preceptor of the universe, destroyer of the forces of darkness, and bestower of immortality. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 18, chapter is known as Moksha Sanyasa Yoga. It deals with the highest state, renunciation leading to moksha, liberation. Presently, we are in the verse number 26. In the previous chapter that ended with the mantra Om Tat Sat. Om Tat Sat gave you the mantra of the complete mantra for success in life. Om, you invoke God. Tat, settle your mind towards your goal. The goal is absolute truth, Brahman. Sat, allow your life to flow along from unreal to real. It is Sat term that's very important. That's what you are. When you come to Sat Sangha, you put virtuous conduct in life, it was Sat Achar. When you conduct with people in a nice way, it calls Sat Vyavhar. When you think correctly, it calls Sat Vichar. I'm giving you only a few samples. So, life flowing towards Sat, and that's the life of immense glory attainment. When a bird flies a little, flying a little gives happiness. But it goes on flying, and flying over a rainbow gives more happiness. No end to it. Life has to be viewed as a process of unending joy. Though in practical life, things appear. Practical life is day and night. Imagine if there was only day, the life will be miserable. You will be in North Pole with the bears. I'm joking, but the idea to understand ups and downs, that's style of life. And we learn from both. And sometimes we learn more from your adversity than from your prosperity. Figure that out. Now, keeping that understanding, how to allow the life to flow towards God realization. This is elaborated in the 18th chapter. Various points we have already discussed. Now in 26th verse, 3 types of doer. Karta. All are doers, you see. We're always involved in doing. You're born as a doer, but now allow your understanding to regulate and become Sattvic doer. 3 types of doer: Sattvic doer, Rajasic doer, Tamasic doer. When we hear that, then the question arises, and what is Sattvic doer? Well, that's what you are getting now. Mukta sango anaham vadi dhrityutsaha samanvita siddhya siddhyor nirvikara karta satvika uchyate. He who does not desire fruits of his actions, who is free of the sense, I am the doer. Mukta Sangha, one who does not have dependence on objects of the world. That's the first great quality, Mukta Sangha. What's known as simply Asanga, practice detachment. And the ideal is be like the sky. The sky is always there on your top of your head, if you are not inside the house. With a big message that clouds come of all types. The sky welcomes them all. Soft, gentle, shimmering clouds come, and they are welcomed by the sky. The wind blows, and the cloud moves away. And black clouds gather, not with peaceful mood, frowning at each other, with flashes of lightning coming out of them. And the sky gives room for all of them. So all are invited. They do all their monkey business. And they leave no scratch in the sky. It's allegorical, but sometimes it's easy to understand profound insights through little allegorical things. So that is the goal. Try to take the goal in a humorous way, in a joyous way. Don't build up the idea, oh, that's impossible. And shake with your both hands. You don't know your potentiality. Ego doesn't have any idea. So don't consult your ego about it. Here comes the role of faith. We are coming to Scripture. It's coming from God's inspiration. So even though your ego doesn't understand it, this is the truth. You are bound to attain that level when nothing of the world will touch you. And that will be your greatest attainment, greatest fulfillment. As long as you are waiting to have some attainment, desiring, craving, longing, and as long as you are getting affected by situations that come, you have not reached the goal. Life is in the process of battle. Estoy luchando. So Mukta Sangha, that's the ideal. It should inspire a person. That is the ideal, not just going to Switzerland. Anaham Vadi. All these are very profound words. That's why I'm going waiting to see how to explain it. Anaham Vadi literally means not expressing egoism in your conduct. And it means speaking about ego. Aham Vadi is speaking about your ego. Don't take it. Literally things are different. See what it means. Aham Vadi means you are not speaking anything, but the way you sit looking down on others. Your attitude. Physically nothing changes. But people who are sensitive to your mood, they begin to feel. And human beings have always some sensitivity. So even when you don't speak, yet people who are ego-based, they exude a kind of vibrations that are not very pleasing. When a vulture sits down and looks, it's called Amvadi. And of course, in more practical language, people go on expressing how great they are in different ways. And they want to make others agree. You don't agree, you're not our friends. You're not invited. No Christmas gifts. All this I'm giving very crude illustration, but try to see the psychology behind. And that requires also go deeper into your own heart to understand how much you are trying to impose your ego or how much you are just sincere. It's the difference between the two. And if you find you are failing, doesn't matter. That's what life is. You are not born enlightened. Some sages are, but not majority of people. So, recognizing the error and go on correcting it. And that's a joyous task. Mukta sango anaham vadi. To be internally detached like the sky. Anaham vadi, whenever ego is being pampered, move away from it. Let's also understand, when ego is praised, majority of people become very happy. And that is business philosophy. Keep your clients happy. What I'm leading you to understand, that real happiness doesn't come if your ego is being praised, because it has no substantiality. Tell a rabbit you are a liar. It's a good joke. Real fulfillment comes in your heart when you have done something profound. You have touched someone's heart and led the person to correct a mistake, relieved some pain, sorrow, removed a terrifying situation that was to come, and you dispelled it. And when you did it, and people look up to you, how great you have been, your heart turns to God. God made me do that. And when you develop that type of reaction, then you are really healthy. Otherwise, you are psychologically, speaking from a mystic point of view, you are sick. The taste of humility is like nectar. Taste of ego-based vanity, that's vishad, poisonous. So, mukta sango anaham vadi, dhriti utsaha samanvita. Dhriti is translated as perseverance, steadfastness. It has different aspects. When you handle a situation and your mind comes to a conclusion and you stay with it firm, it's called nishchaya dhriti. But if your mind goes on shaking, when that type of firmness is not there in your making, in your decision, certain things you have decided, and you don't have firmness. In the morning you decided that way. By the afternoon, say, I made a wrong decision. And by the evening, no, morning was right. So that type of activity in your mind is called lack of dhriti. Next aspect of dhriti is dharana shakti. Dharana is ability to hold. You heard something interesting, insightful. And it's a wonderful thing. Why didn't I know it before? And by the time 1 hour passed, and suddenly you say, oh, what was it? Unable to hold on to something insightful. Next, nigraha shakti. Realize there is a thorn that has come somewhere in your finger or ear or nose, wherever. And it's pinching you. But you are involved in eating laddus, sweets, or involved in something so pleasant, you ignore it until you get infected. I'm joking with little examples. That means defects enter your personality. You should be able to remove them fast instead of allowing to stick to you like a thorn. Called nigraha shakti. So all this comes under one word, dhriti. Next, utsaha. The word utsaha, to give you a little humor about it. For joyous expression to ha ha ha. Sanskrit word uts, blend to it. It's kind of aberration, ha ha. So that type of spirit should be behind your life, behind your activities. Once you have started doing something, don't go on cursing yourself. Why have I to do it? How long will it take? Will I really get the result? Why didn't God give this work to somebody else? Instead, build up a type of personality that you are being led by God. You are an instrument in divine hand. And as long as you have to do it well. As long as food has gone into your mouth, chew it well. And bless it. To curse it, and you are yourself going to suffer from it. So therefore, utsaha, that quality comes to you if you are doing daily satsanga, japa, prayers. If you have brought these practices in your life, everyone has instinctive faith. And that faith begins to develop, turns into its inner strength. So you do not give value to negative situations, that they are going to demolish me and I will be left nowhere. No matter how things are. Faith-based movement brings you Shraddha brings virya, kind of spiritual strength. Shraddha, virya. And as the inner strength develops, I'm turning to Raj Yoga Sutras. These points are important. Faith, it becomes inner strength. Now it brings a change in your quality of memory, quality of recollection. If your mind is negative, it goes on recollecting all the painful things you have suffered from and become crowded by all those moths and mosquitoes of painful memories. You can't see anything brilliant or positive. But when faith starts gaining its potency, it becomes awakened in a spiritual way. Your mind now recalls how you, in most difficult, challenging situations, how you have slipped out by God's grace. Even coming out from mother's womb into the world is not an easy job. The simple things easily understood. So many miracles of God's grace have worked through your life and are working every moment. So that's called smriti, a divine recollection. The highest form of recollection, your mind begins to handle the idea, I am not the body, I am not the ego, I am Aham Brahmasmi. Imagine for the mind to hold that idea, I am all, not all what it looks like here. All that was millions of years ago. All that will be millions of years later. All. I am all. See the contrast. This is my house. That's my room. That's where I live. This is my phone. Now, contrasted from that, I am all. But that potentiality exists in everyone. Led by ego, your mind is looking for perfection in the world of time and space. And its movement is just like, as I have illustrated, looking at your little room. And your ego says, go after some real estate, borrow money, build another story over your house. I'm not discouraging you from your material progress. But understand, this is not the goal. So coming back to that Shraddha, Virya, Smriti, Now term is used samadhi. Your understanding and all that you think is within the limits of your senses and mind. A normal limit has been created by your karmas. But when you allow faith to develop within you, as if you get wings, so you are not confined just to your normal practical realities, but there is an opening for you to soar, to rise. And when that experience comes of flying beyond the limits, that's called samadhi, super consciousness. And when that experience matures, your intellect becomes intuitional. That's called prajna. Once you reach that state, even though that state may not be perfect, but once you are set on that path, to that type of quality of movement that there is no more possibility for you to go back, then that's called liberation, Jivan Mukti. So, that's called Utsaha. That type of perseverance, that type of vigor, vitality, and joy has to enter. That doesn't mean that you have to show up on your muscles. It's subtle point, internal. Siddhya siddhyo nirvikara. Now, in your project, you attain success. Sometimes success can be beyond your imagination. And sometimes you have absolutely no success. But if you are ego-based, you will be elated when there is success. You will feel exceedingly depressed when there is failure. But when you have come to Sattvic state, Sattvic karta, then you are amused when things didn't work out. To give you a very practical illustration. A baby, child, looking for sweet. He knows where the sweet is, he opens the box. With great effort, he climbed, he found the box and took the sweet. No, the sweet was not there. Opens the box, the sweet is not there. That's a big adversity. But the child looks at the mother and smiles. You did it. You have a purpose. So look at God within you. So you did it. You know what is best for me. So don't let adversity build up a steady negativity within you, but let it become shallow. Let it become like a wave that comes and goes. Who cares? If you are a diver, you don't care for the waves, how they move. Spiritual movement makes you a kind of a diver, swimmer. You are not shaken by waves, but say goodbye to those waves. You go deep. So siddhyor nirvikara, whether it is gain or loss, project is successful or not successful, unaffected. If you have these qualities developing, that's called you are Sattvic karta, the Sattvic doer. Now you'll be curious to know what Rajasic doer looks like. Ragi karma phala prepsu lubdho hinsatmako ashuchi harshashokanvitaha karta rajasa parikirtita. He who is ragi, those people who have heard the word vairagi, means dispassionate. Ragi is opposed to vairagi. Ragi is attached. You give more of your energy in keeping yourself attached to objects. And all that energy that could have built up a spiritual progress goes after securing your attachment. Let me give you very ordinary illustrations. Say, for example, you have been given the very costly pearl for your ring. You are attached to your ring more than to your finger. You always tell the whole story. It comes from great-great-great-grandfather. They had the best pearl, and this has come down into my finger. Or it can be attached to your necklace. And that puts you in risk. Because the thieves like your necklace. They don't like your neck. Protecting things you possess, that's perfectly normal. But becoming so attached that you can't even sleep. I have such a treasure in some place, treasure house, and what's going on? A little click. Oh, is a thief there? And so forth. I'm not going to elaborate there. Ragi. Raga has so many ramifications. Physical raga, possessing objects and being attached to them. Psychological raga, it's like a tree with many branches. You want your ideas to be valued, you want to be recognized. Lokeshana, vitteshana, having a lot of fame, lot of wealth, children, and all those things. The mind moving after these, his mind is creating raga klesha, attachment. Even when you stick to a certain notion in your mind, narrow-minded view, and you can give up your life, but will not give up your view. It's one of the most terrible malady for society. The world always suffers from it. The greatest source of trouble from narrow-minded people who talk of the highest thing, God, and create the worst terror. Also, you should understand, every evil has many stages. Sometimes it comes into the mind of a person, you suddenly dislike someone and a little sprout develops. Let the person go to hell. And next day you make it up. Say, good. You are so wonderful person. But you did allow narrow-minded view. I will not elaborate this. Next, desirous of fruits of karma. Karma phala prepsu. Life flows on in divine hands. And that great wisdom has to come. Life doesn't flow on for you to count your possessions. When I was 10-year-old, I had only so much money. Now, I have 100,000, million. How much progress have I made? And how much progress I'm going to make. So always creating in your mind the joy of having a fruit, having a result of your karma according to your expectation. And whenever there is an interruption, then your performance of action becomes agitated, disturbed. You don't perform it well. If you are Sattvic, doer, then it doesn't matter. It is all in the hands of God. Every duty you do it perfectly with all your heart in the service of God. Just like when you put flowers before a deity, you don't go on looking at the flower. It's going to fade. I bought it from the best guy shop. I put so much money into it. I'm joking. Try to understand. Works that you do, they are flowers. Flowers are offered and that's it. In the whole process of offering, be perfect. But don't go on looking for what is going to happen after as a result of karma. Also try to understand that even from practical point of view, if you want to attain success in any field, your mind should become deeply interested in activity, action. Your focus should be how dexterously I can handle the work so that it takes minimum energy and maximum product. That quality one must develop. But the moment that spontaneity in performing action is disturbed by your expectation, I'm doing this, but will the credit go to somebody else? I'm doing in this office, and I will do the best. But that one is going to get the credit. The super boss. I'm joking, but try to understand. If that idea comes, then the quality of performance is disturbed. Your inspiration in doing activity is interrupted. And that's how people live their life, with their expectations. And that land people to a dull-wit mind and bring lot of problems. Because there is always expectation, and you don't have clarity about the fulfillment of expectation. Then you do not perform your duties the best way you could. Also, all this you must understand with a practical mind. Mind will always look for a positive result behind your karma. Make your mind understand there are two types of expectations. Worldly expectation, if you have planted a seed of mango tree, it should grow into a mango tree, and it should bring fruits. But your ego says, suppose your house is sold before the mango fruit comes. I'm joking. Instead, You simply allow that work to go on with the understanding that if fruits come and somebody else lives in this house, it will be wonderful. If I'm not eating, somebody else is doing. A kind of whole world is your family. What I was also pointing out that when you practice spiritual ideal, your mind doesn't suddenly get into that ideal state. So allow you to develop patience with your own mind. Allow little ego to go on working. But move in your sadhana in such a way that ego's movement becomes waves and your spiritual movement becomes like an ocean. Otherwise, if you start fighting with your ego, your energy goes in that, it becomes dissipated. In other words, even the slightest goodness should be appreciated, encouraged, inspired within yourself, in others. Rajasic doer is inclined to violence. Violence is hurting. It can be physical violence, mental violence, verbal violence, and inclined to impurity, means gross impurities, kama, krodha, lust, anger, greed, and so forth. Those impurities begin to develop by doing Rajasic karma. And the mind is swayed by elation and grief. With Rajasic karma, with Rajasic type of activity, you don't enjoy a peaceful mind. Then the moment mind becomes peaceful, you become bored. What happened? Today nothing. You are Sattvic, peace came and thrill. Now I'm opening the window of my heart. But you are Rajasic, you want to be tickled this way, you want to be tickled that way. And nobody tickles me. Miserable. Now coming to Tamasic. Ayuktaha prakrita stabdha shato naiskritiko lasah vishadi dirgha sutricha karta tamasa uchyate. He who is careless simply is the translation. Ayukta. It implies irrational. You don't look for logic behind it. You simply want something and that's it. There is no more analysis about it. That's sufficient, I want it. Next one, vulgar. In pursuing your desire, doing your action, you may spill out abusive words. You may create vulgar gestures. Vulgarity means many things. What people call mal creado, badly brought up. So Rajasic people don't care. How does it look? They are mal creados. I'm talking about Tamasic people, they don't care. Conceited, arrogant. These negative qualities are illustrated in the stories of Ramayana, Mahabharata, And Duryodhana was being given a great advice by a great sage. And Duryodhana looks at the sage, beats up his own thigh, and laughs. Ridicules the sage. Of course, in the storyline, he receives a curse. This very thigh you are beating, one day the thigh will be broken. But that's the illustration of vulgarity in life. People who have tamasic type of mind, arrogant, lazy, despondent, procrastinating, all these are the demoniac wealth of the tamasic personality. All these are negative. I have not elaborated too much of this, but because this is well known, negative things I don't have to describe too much. Watch the TV and you have enough there. And I will hold off at this time. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.